Have to access my alter ego DJ side. Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Can everybody hear me? Sound is good. So my name is Marcia Jones, and I'm going to be presenting on physical and mental wellness today. And I'm really glad that you all took the time to come. This is one of my favorite subjects, professionally as well as personally. So I could get on my soapbox and talk to y'all all day, and y'all would be asleep. Moving on, like let's get over it. But today we're just going to delve into some information and talk about a few things. I want to first, if we can now go to the next slide. I want to first of all help you all understand and get a good definition of what wellness is. Also, challenge your thinking when it comes to what and reconceptualize what physical health and mental health is. See some eyes. Come on in. If there are others that want to join, feel free to come on in. Glad to have you. But I want to challenge what you think about when you think about and when you hear physical and mental health and wellness. Also, we'll get into a little opportunity to understand as well as experience that mind body connection. So, these will be some of the things we'll delve into. Come on in. Hello, hello. Hi, welcome, welcome. Thank you all again for having me. Looking forward to just talking about this and getting an opportunity to educate our community around this particular topic. So everybody can hear me okay and everybody can see information well. All right. So let's move forward and get an understanding of of what wellness is. So first thing I want to ask you, when you see the word exercise or when you hear the word exercise or workout, what comes to mind? What pictures, what feelings, what thoughts pop into your mind when you hear exercise or workout? I can see the frowns. What pops up? Be honest, it's all good. Come on in. Hi, welcome. Glad to have you. Thanks for joining. Grab a seat. Sweat. Okay, what else comes up? Pain, motion. Okay, sweat, pain, motion. So we're just checking in to get an idea of some of the different thoughts and feelings and pictures that pop into our mind when we hear the word exercise. Yes, come on in. Welcome. Glad to have you. Exercise or workout. So you see this kettlebell, and so some people were saying they think of sweat, they think of pain, they think of all of these kind of negative things that might pop up. Any other pictures or visions that come to your mind when you hear exercise or workout? Release. Okay. So motion, release, sweat, pain. All right. Let's jump ahead and look at our next slide and see what comes up for you when you see and hear these words. So when you think about or see the words, diet or fast, what comes to mind when you hear or see the word diet or fast? Come on in, y'all. Come on in. What comes to mind? What feelings pop up? What thoughts come to your mind when you hear the word diet? Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That's what I'm looking for, honesty, like for real. Okay, so yuck. What else comes up? What feelings? Self control, hungry, right? I was talking about this with another group and someone just yelled out salad. So what else comes up for you? Let's be real. This is all about honesty. We're trying to grow here. So other things that pop up. Restriction, great word. Right. Restriction, yuck, salad, anything else. Lifestyle change, right? Right. Yes. Hi, welcome. Glad to have you. Any other thoughts or feelings or pictures that come to your mind when you hear the word diet or fast? Okay. Hunger, pain. So more pain. So we got pain on the workout. We got hunger pains when we're doing diet or fasting. Great. All right. Thank you. Appreciate the honesty. One more. Let's move ahead to the next. When you see the word mental health or mental illness, what comes to your mind? And again, safe space. Let's be honest about some of the different reactions, feelings, and thoughts that come in. Thanks for coming. Come on in. What do you think about? What do you feel? Crazy. All right. What else? Right. This is honest, though. This is what most people think about. They may not necessarily be comfortable sharing it or verbalizing it, but people think these things when they hear the word mental health, mental issues, mental illness. Come on in. Everybody's waiting you on in. Come on in. Right, right. So crazy. What other things come to mind? Loneliness, trauma. Great words. Great words. Depression, people not understanding. Right, right. You're good. Okay. Any other reactions that you might have at mental health, mental illness, mental issues, whatever we might say? I really appreciate your honesty and just kind of sharing what really comes up for you. So, what I wanted to do was highlight these. Notice a theme with all of the different reactions that we have. What themes did you notice? Negative, right? Right. So, how can we, try to take an approach to addressing our mental and physical wellness when from jump we have all these negative connotations associated with it? And so, just recognizing that that's where we're starting from helps us to understand, okay, we might need to adjust our thinking, maybe change our language around it. So I wanted to first help you understand where we're all really kind of starting from. This is something that, our environment, our culture is kind of embedded in us, as many things are. But this helps us get an awareness of where we're starting from. And now we know we might need to just do a little bit different when it comes to our thinking and our approach. So we know we've got this negative bias coming into the subject. So now we have to make adjustments accordingly. Okay. All right. So let's get a clear understanding of what wellness is. So let's look at the next slide and look at the definition. So the National Wellness Institute defines wellness as an active process through which people become aware of and make choices toward a more successful existence. Doesn't that sound all warm and fuzzy? I mean, it just sounds good. But active process. If there are two words that I want you to take away from that definition, active process, meaning that this is not something that you do on Tuesday and you get your award and you kick back on Saturday and say, "Oh, I'm well, it's all good, I'm good for the rest of my life." No, this is an ongoing active process. Process in and of itself means time. It's over an extended period of time. So remember that. And so now we look at this on the side, the wheel here. That is the 6 dimensions of wellness. And what this is highlighting is that you're human, meaning that there are various components to you. You're not just one facet. You're not just a daughter. You're not just a friend. You've also got your intellectual side, your social side, your spiritual side, which you're here to feed as well throughout this weekend. You've got your emotional, your occupational, all these dimensions. So when you hear people say, I'm trying to get balance, it's some of these different dimensions that you have in your life, right? And so we know the way that life works, it doesn't just deal with one particular thing. All things are kind of coming at you at all times. So we're constantly trying to juggle and address all of these different aspects of ourselves. That's why it's an ongoing, active process, daily, hourly, by minute. Make sense? So an item again that I want you to remember: you're human. You are human. Give yourself permission to be human. I know sometimes we like to act like we're superheroes and we can do everything, and yeah, but no, because that can be very tiring, right? When you feel like the world is on your shoulder, you have to be the one, and especially many times as women, we're nurturing, we're supporting, we're encouraging so many people around us. And so many times when I'm sitting across from my clients, it's women who are feeling tapped out, tired, weary, fatigued of being the one, being the strong one, having to be the one that everybody goes to, and saying that, well, I can't, I know I want to do these things, but I got to take care of, I can't do it right now because I got to attend to. And so we end up putting ourselves at the bottom of the list of things to do. And so this is why we have to kind of be intentional and thoughtful about moving ourselves up on the list of things to do. I know it sounds like a cliche, but you do have to take care of yourself if you are going to be of any good to anybody else, right? We know it. We've experienced it. The challenge is to be intentional and actually doing it. So I'm not necessarily telling you anything that you may not already know. My challenge is for you to actually do it, okay? And that's your challenge to each other as well. So now let's look again. When you see the word move or active, what comes to mind? What thoughts, what feelings, what reactions do you have? Fun. Okay. What else? You say exercise. Okay, so exercise. What else? But that works though. Thank you. Come on in. Walking, strolling, treadmill. Okay. Right. What else comes to mind? Dancing. See, I think you and I have something in common. We can have a conversation after this. So, what else comes to mind? Dancing, strolling, walking, treadmill, exercise, hiking. What else, if anything else? But someone said fun at the beginning. Notice the difference in the feeling with move, with active. You can do any of these things. And this is not even an exhaustive list. It could be, okay, let me go outside and garden. Let me go outside and, walk around the neighborhood. Let me get in the yard. I need to trim these hedges or whatever it is. But it opens up the opportunity for movement, right? When you hear exercise, you might feel like, okay, well, I got to join a gym and start climbing a wall. When you hear move and active, you might feel, oh, okay, well, that could be, let me go to this birthday party and make sure when they play my song that I get out and I do my two-step and let them know what's really going on, right? That's what that does. It opens things up. So let's look at the next slide and look at some of those options there. Healthful eating or eating habits. What comes to mind when you hear those terms? What'd you say? Keto? I love the honesty. I appreciate it. So keto. What else? Portion. Right. I heard something else. Vegetables. Okay. What else? Solid. Did I hear solid? Fruits. Right. 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 Moderation. So now, granted, this is maybe not as wide open, but do you feel the same sense of restriction that you felt when you hear the word diet? Right? Or fast. As soon as you hear those words, I think about everything I cannot eat. And then that makes me want it more. That's like, don't think about an elephant and that's the only thing that you're thinking about. When I hear healthful eating or eating habits, and we can look at some of those things, that makes me, that challenges me to say, okay, what can I do? How can I adjust my eating habits to be more inclusive of healthier options or healthier habits? It doesn't say don't eat the ice cream because that happens to be personally one of my favorite meals. Yes, I call it a meal. So I'm still going to have some ice cream. However, I'm still going to think about, okay, have I had some vegetables today? What colors have I eaten today? And what do I need to include before, my day ends? So it just makes me more cognizant of that. And again, opens it up as opposed to that negative feeling of I can't eat, right? All right, so let's look at the next slide and consider some of this. Okay, mental wellness, emotional health. What comes up? What generates feelings, thoughts when you hear those terms? Balance. Okay. Confidence. Happy. Is that what you said? Yes. What else? Relax. See the difference? Just peace. It's not striving for peace. These are some of the things that I'm sorry, upset. Okay, so maybe we do have some of those more difficult feelings. And she raises a great point. Sometimes we think about difficult feelings. I call them difficult, upset, angry, frustration, and we have a tendency to want to kind of run from them and feel as though we should not feel those things. But there's a season for everything. And just because you feel a certain way does not mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's difficult. And we have to figure out how we're going to process those things. And that's what mental wellness and emotional health is. So let's pull up some of the different items associated with that. But what you want to think about is when you are striving for mental wellness and emotional health, again, recognizing this is an ongoing active process, you're going to engage in behaviors that are going to be more supportive in your achieving that mental and emotional health, right? That means when people say, okay, I need a mental health day, or I need to take some time away. This is why vacations are so popular, right? Because we recognize we need to step away, take some time off, kind of detach, decompress. These are the things that you need to think about when it comes to striving for and working towards your emotional wellness. So when we shift from thinking mental illness or mental health to emotional health and emotional wellness, it's a whole different feeling because you're kind of more motivated, you feel more optimistic about it. And so we're going to engage in more affirming behaviors that are going to promote positive thoughts and positive feelings, right? So if I know that that means, okay, if I'm trying to work towards supporting my emotional health and I know that I feel overwhelmed by all the tasks that I have to do, and someone approaches me and asks me, well, could you do X, Y, Z? I'm going to check in with myself and maybe recognize, maybe I need to say no to this. Or maybe I need to say, well, I can do this portion, but I cannot do it all. I've got too much going on right now. Because if I compromise myself by committing to something that or I don't have time to do, right, then I'm not going to do them the best service that I could, and I'm not going to show up as my best self, right? So we're not doing anybody any good when we overcommit. So maybe enforcing our boundaries, whatever it might be, those are the things we'll engage again in those behaviors that are going to support our emotional health and allow us to treat people kind, right? Okay, so jumping ahead, want to lastly give you a little bit of information and conceptualization on stress because we hear that term a lot. We talk about it and we all might have different understandings of it. I like to think of stress in a nutshell as our way of reacting and adjusting to the everyday kind of the circumstances of life, situations, external situations of life. So this is our body's way of adjusting and adapting to what's going on around us, which then begs the question, when do we have to adjust and adapt to our environment? So I'm asking you all, this is the feedback part. When do we have to adjust and adapt to our environment? All the time. Thank you. So if you ever come across someone who says, I'm not stressed, I don't get stressed, I'm fine, you can, you have my permission to maybe give them a little bit of a side eye. So really, let's be honest, because we're all dealing with it. Now, how we respond might vary from person to person, and different people might have different coping techniques, and that's fine. But we are all experiencing stressors on a daily, as they say, all day and day. That's what we are dealing with. It's happening. Yes. Yes. You said we're all wired to be stressed. Yes. Right. And how long and the impact. Exactly. You are exactly right. It triggers a fight or flight response. Our systems get activated, which takes me to some of the impact of chronic stress. So I'm going to pause there for just a second. Thank you for sharing that. She is exactly right. We all are going to. It's our body's way of surviving. The challenge is when we get stressed and our body triggers into that fight or flight response. We're up, our systems are highly activated. They're kind of on alert. And when we're in that space for a long time, that's when it can take a toll on the body. And so that's when we experience chronic stress. And quite honestly, I will just be, again, frank with you. My observation with the last 2 years, come on in, with the last 2 years and how surreal things have been, everybody's baseline level of stress is elevated. It just is because it just feels like we're living in crazy times and it just seems like one thing after another. So if you have found that you're not bouncing back from things the way that you feel like you typically would, or you're more irritable, or things just feel off, it's to some degree understandable. We're living in some extraordinary times. And so we've had chronic stress, long-term stress. This wasn't something that happened again one week and was resolved in a month or two. We're 2+ years into not even just the pandemic, just everything, right? So if you end up experiencing some of these symptoms, not everybody, but chronic stress can have a physical impact on us with, mood swings, gastrointestinal issues, respiratory problems, all sorts of problems. And you may end up looking back on your life and recognizing, yeah, when I got stressed, I can remember my hair was falling out. I couldn't keep food down. I don't know what was going on. All of a sudden, I had these random aches and pains in my body. All of that is your body talking to you. And I always say your body will tell you what it needs if you listen, if you take the time to listen. But we have to engage in practices to help us manage and process our stress as best as we can. It may not necessarily take everything away, but it can help us work towards that balance that was highlighted earlier. That's essentially what stress management tools are about. I want to encourage you to try and broaden your repertoire of tools to use when you get stressed. So whether that is, I need to take some time and write in my journal, or I need to make sure I'm getting enough sleep as best as I can, or I need to work or move or get active, then let's try and engage in some of those behaviors to help reduce our stress, because more stress is going to come. So we have to keep doing things, right? It's an active, ongoing process to make sure we're kind of mitigating the damage that it might be doing. Does all that make sense? Okay, so you're all ready to move? Okay, all right. Let's go to the next slide. Let me see if I can get some sound and stuff going here. So I'm going to invite you all to, real now, it's about to happen. How does it say it's about to go down? Okay, let's get some sound going. Right, you didn't know, like I didn't come dressed. So I'm gonna ask you all to stand up. Number one, listen to your body. Do what it says is okay to do. Give yourself some space. So put yourself arm's length away from each other. Yeah, I'm just gonna take you through a few things. We got just a short amount of time. More space. What we're going to do first, I'm going to play some music, and I want you to think about, I want you to kind of experience, we talked about some of those difficult feelings that oftentimes when we're thinking about things that have happened in the past, when we're looking at the past, that's when a lot of those difficult feelings come up. Sometimes we don't know what to do with it, we might bury them down and internalize. I want to encourage you to think about that. Okay, so I'm gonna play some music and get to this is a safe place. This is where you can't touch and it's all right. All right. So just hang with me. Let's see if we can get this going.
Round 87.
Focus.